Hey everyone, we're going to dive into a book that's basically the owner's manual for your brain, Daniel Kahneman's masterpiece, Thinking Fast and Slow. It's all about why we think the way we do and, why our brains sometimes pull a fast one on us. So to kick things off, let's put your brain to a little test, shall we?
All right, so to get us started, I've got a quick puzzle for you. The key here is don't overthink it. Seriously, just go with the very first answer that pops into your head. Ready? Okay, here it is. In a lake, you've got this patch of lily pads, right? And every single day, it doubles in size. Now, if it takes a full 48 days for that patch to cover the entire lake, how long would it take to cover just half of the lake? Just what's that first number that jumped into your mind?
So, did your brain immediately shout 24 days? If it did, don't worry, you are in very good company. I mean, it just feels right, doesn't it? It's simple, it's intuitive, and it's the answer pretty much everyone's brain serves up on a silver platter. But, and you knew there was a but, it's also wrong. Believe it or not, the correct answer is 47 days. Think about it. If the patch doubles in size every day, then the day before it covered the whole lake, it must have been covering half of it. So on day 47, it's half, and on day 48, boom, it doubles to cover the whole thing. The logic is actually super simple once you see it, but our brains just don't want to go there first. And understanding why that happens, well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. And hey, getting that wrong has absolutely nothing to do with how smart you are. It's all about the wiring. See, according to Kahneman, our mind is run by these, well, you could almost think of them as two different characters living inside our heads. First up, you've got System 1. This is the fast one. It's automatic, intuitive, and it runs on gut feelings. It's the part of your brain that screamed 24 days without even breaking a sweat. Then you've got System 2. This is your slow, deliberate, analytical thinker. It requires real effort to get this one going, but it's the system that can actually work through the logic and get to the right answer. 47 days.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the relationship between these two. System 1 is kind of the hero of our daily lives. It's always on, making snap judgments so we can function. But System 2? Think of it as this brilliant but incredibly lazy supervisor. It has the power to step in, check the math, and solve the hard problems. But most of the time, it just doesn't want to. So with the lily pad problem, your System 1 jumped to that easy, intuitive answer, and your lazy System 2 just shrugged and said, yeah, that sounds about right, without even bothering to do the work.
So because we've got this team up of a fast, impulsive System 1 and a super lazy System 2, our brains have to rely on mental shortcuts just to get through the day. These are called heuristics. And look, most of the time, they're incredibly useful, but they can also lead us down some very predictable paths to the wrong answer. And those predictable errors, that's what we call cognitive biases.
Okay, you ready for another one? Let's try this out. I want you to read this quick description of a person named Linda. Just try to get a clear picture of her in your head.
All right, you got her? Now, based on what you just read, which of these two things is more probable? Is it A, Linda is a bank teller, or B, Linda is a bank teller and is active in the feminist movement? Again, don't overthink it. Which one just feels more likely?
If you picked B, you are not alone. Most people do. And you've just fallen for something called the conjunction fallacy. Here's why. That description paints such a vivid picture, a real story in our minds. And feminist bank teller just fits that story so much better. But think about it logically for a second. The group of feminist bank tellers is a small part of the bigger group of all bank tellers. It's literally impossible for a smaller piece of a group to be more probable than the whole group itself. Your System 1 just loved the story, and it completely ignored the math.
And this leads us perfectly into another huge mental shortcut, the availability heuristic. This one's super simple. Basically, our brain follows a rule that goes like this. If I can think of examples easily, then it must be really common or important.
And this brilliantly illustrates how our judgment can get totally hijacked, especially by things like the news. I mean, we're bombarded with stories of celebrity divorces or, say, a plane crash. Those images are so vivid and easy to recall, they're highly available in our minds. So our brain just assumes they happen way more often than, say, car crashes, which are statistically far more dangerous. It's the same thing with the word puzzle. You can instantly think of words that start with R, but it takes work to think of words with R as the third letter. So your brain just concludes, well, there must be more of the first kind, even though that's not true at all.
Okay, next up is one of the most powerful and, honestly, kinda scary glitches our minds have. It's called the anchoring effect. The idea is that our brains will latch on to the very first piece of information we get, especially a number, and then have a really, really hard time moving away from it. It can totally skew everything that comes after. Let me just show you how it works.
All right, first question. Was Gandhi more or less than 144 years old when he died? Now, obviously the answer is less. That's a ridiculous age. But it's too late. The number 144 is now planted in your head. It's the anchor.
Okay, now for the real question. How old was Gandhi when he died? Take your best guess.
The real answer is 78. But here's the crazy part. Study after study shows that when people are given that high, absurd anchor of 144 first, their guesses are way, way higher than people who weren't given an anchor at all. Your System 1 grabbed that number, and even though your System 2 knew it was wrong and tried to adjust down, it was just too lazy to adjust far enough. And this isn't just a party trick. This affects everything from how you negotiate your salary to what you're willing to pay for a car.
So, we've seen how easily our brains can get tripped up by simple math problems, by a good story, by a totally random number. Which all leads to a really big question, right? Can you ever really trust your gut?
Well, Kahneman's answer is, it's complicated. But he offers this amazing piece of wisdom. The goal isn't to prove that our intuition is always wrong. It's not. The real problem is that we're usually completely blind to our own mistakes. So the first step isn't about shutting down System 1, because you can't. It's about learning the language of these mistakes so that we have a chance of spotting them in the wild.
So the crucial point is this. Your mind is in a constant tug-of-war between that fast, automatic, and often wrong System 1 and that slow, deliberate, but super lazy System 2. The shortcuts that System 1 takes create these biases that are incredibly predictable. And while we can't just flip a switch and turn them off, just by learning about them, just by knowing what anchoring is, or what the availability heuristic is, we give our lazy System 2 a reason to wake up, to pause, and to ask, wait a minute. And that right there is how we start making better decisions.
And that really leaves us with one final thing to think about. Now that you know about these hidden glitches in your brain's programming, how are you going to approach your next big decision? Are you going to let System 1 run the show? Or are you going to take a second, slow down, and wake up that lazy supervisor?